Yesterday evening marked my first true session with the girl. Signs of significant disorder are greater than I initially thought. Her imagination is vast, but one phrase in particular has become an earworm of sorts.
He was right in front of me, breathing hard. That's what I remember most. The awful smell. Like when sausage goes bad.
Scent while dreaming is a rarity, and indication of sensory transcendence. She may be a fine candidate for a neurological study, but her health must come first. There are undoubtedly other details I missed in her recount. From the top, then. Sleep be damned tonight.
You're listening to The Sounds of Nightmares, an audio fiction series from the world of Little Nightmares.
This is the counsellor. Herein are my preliminary case notes for tape number 54, session number 1, patient number 1220, referring to children by numbers. Our relationship goes beyond mere ethics, so I can leave that practice to the heartless quacks on the upper floors. But to remain professional, I'll use a moniker the girl's given herself. Noone. Noone has been in CPI care for a fortnight. Given her rather remarkable medical history, her mental state seems relatively unremarkable. She finds herself in my ward due to worsening, though not recurring, nightly afflictions. Parasomnia isn't uncommon among patients. Not to imply she's unworthy of treatment, only that there are others worse off. Noone also displays signs of mild trauma. As such, nightmare disorder is possible. Given her diffidence, the focus for this session is to build rapport. I'm hopeful Noone will open up and will learn what lies inside that little head. Oh, damn. Take the big chair, Noone. Sit, lie, saddle it like a horse, whatever you please. How's that?
Fine, I guess.
That look on your face says there's more on your mind.
It's like the music I used to hear through the walls. In our old apartment, before we moved into the fancy house.
Would you like to talk about that? Your old apartment?
No, counsellor.
All right. An easier question to start. How are you feeling today?
Bit sad.
For any reason in particular?
The red flower Mum and Dad left. It went all wrinkled. I tried lifting a petal and it broke off. But then I saw why. Little crawlies. Everywhere underneath the dirt.
Aphids? How unpleasant. Must be hard, here all alone. That wasn't just the flower to you, was it?
No, Counselor.
Your parents only want you to feel like you again. And we'll see to that. One day at a time. Have you been sleeping?
Yes, Counselor.
Call me Otto. Sleeping well?
Yes.
Noone, this is a place of honesty. The truth. Please.
Fine. Middle of the night. I keep waking.
And are you perspiring? Sweating?
Oh, yes. And my heart beats like there's a pecking bird in my chest.
Did these nightmares coincide with the onset of your sickness?
No, only after.
And do you remember your nightmares, or do they disappear come morning?
I remember. Everything.
Would you be all right to tell me about them? Now or later?
Yes. The one I had last night, it's still here. The feeling. But may I have some juice? My head's light and Mum says it helps.
I'm not sure that's true. Regardless, you may. I see you eyeing my painting. I've had it since I was a boy. The Zahir's Gaze, it's titled.
Why is it so blurry?
It's a hidden image. The trick is to unfocus your eyes. Try it. There. Can you make it out now?
No.
I've got an idea. Keep your eyes on the painting. Let your mind wander. Meanwhile, you can tell me your dream, if you've finished your juice.
I have.
From the beginning, then.
It started when I woke up. Somewhere I didn't belong.
Describe this place, please.
Everything was white. Only slowly I realized snow was falling on a field. The view was peaceful, looking out from so high up. Like I was one with the cold.
You felt this cold?
Not like the counties in winter, but more like watching someone who was chilled. Around me, but not in me. I turned away from the window, which was only a hole in the stone wall of the curved passageway that stretched on a long ways. This odd feeling told me to get up, but I couldn't stand because the ceiling was so low. I crawled ahead, and if not for the tiniest bit of light, I would have fallen. Another passageway appeared on the floor, its edges throbbing in the dark. Suddenly, I heard a clinking from below. That same feeling told me I was lost inside a giant. A huge one made out of stone, and the only way out was to keep going through its veins. I climbed into the pitch dark and immediately began sliding down the icy wetness, going and going, faster and faster. I thought the slide would never end, and just then, it shot me out.
Did it hurt?
Not like when you fall for real. I can see what it is now. The painting. A tiger and two moons.
That's not quite right.
I've never seen a tiger before.
Keep trying. Remember to unfocus. Continue as you wish.
An orange glowing came from a candle, but the light didn't reach the room's corners. A tiny hole had been cut out of the stone beside me. The snow, I thought. How nice it would be to watch fall again, I looked through, but there was no snow. Only a room brimming with glass jars. Light danced through them, coming from a doorway on the opposite side, until a figure stepped through it. This huge man wore a long coat and fishing hat. His face kind of dripped as he watched me. Then he was gone. Or he wasn't. I can't remember. It's the only thing I can't remember.
Could it have been someone you know? Your father, perhaps?
No, this man doesn't belong to our world.
I don't quite follow.
That's just the feeling he gave.
You keep mentioning this feeling. Can you try to explain?
You can't understand. Not unless you were there. You just can't.
It's all right, Noone. We don't have to talk about him. Relax. Breathe.
Turning from the hole, I spotted an exit on the far wall. That's where the clinking was the loudest. I started towards it when a shadow ran out from the corner. That of a child. I shouted, "Hey!
Where are we?
Where are we?" But quiet as a mouse, he climbed through the pulsing exit. And carelessly I followed. The room over was bigger, and the child was gone. All over the walls and floors were more pulsing passages, like living ant tunnels. All kinds of springs laid about, and little oil cans and strange tools. Suddenly, footsteps, approaching, matching the rhythm of the clinking. Knowing I didn't belong, I hid behind a wooden box. Peeking up, I saw other small shadows entering the room. They stepped by each other silently. Most passed into different doors, but two stayed behind, searching through the springs. They were not children, not at all. Even in dim light, they remained shadows. Things not quite there, as if forgotten, not wanting to be seen. They held nasty tools, and their empty faces showed they weren't very bright. Both stood, looked down a passageway, and jumped. With nowhere to go, I did the same, climbing to the platform below. I finally saw what was making all that noise. Golden spinning wheels. Fat ones, small ones, skinny ones, and they went down so deep I couldn't see the end. I didn't know what they were until that faraway feeling came back and told me. They were gears, with teeth which locked perfectly into one another, clicking on and on a song that never stopped. There were hundred of the dull little shadows, working to keep the mechanisms going. I felt, without their doing, the gears would surely stop, and the giant would break apart stone by stone. But as I leaned over the edge, distracted, my foot must have knocked a wrench. All the shadows stared up, and a few began climbing my way. They moved separately, but as one. I panicked and tucked between a set of levers. In the tight space, my dress got caught on a tooth of massive gear. It pulled me up and around until my dress tore, shooting me onto a pipe below, where I lost my grip only to hit another platform. The shadows stopped chasing me, working again as they yanked at the piece of my dress, now stuck between two gears. causing all the others to slow. While they were bothered, I took the chance to escape. The wall in front of me went down and around, forever and ever, along with the mechanisms. I grabbed onto a rod, sliding on, when a big creak groaned above and the gears went right back to singing their song. The ripped fabric floated down before me, passing by a tiny crack in the stone. Painful cries came through it. I shouldn't have wanted to know what was on the other side, but I did. A small room with chains covering the floor, and 3 identical nun-like dresses, freshly pressed, hanging by a bed. Then, the chains jangled, and my heart stopped. A frail body slumped against the wall, a chain round his neck. He was right in front of me, breathing hard. That's what I remember most. The awful smell. Like when sausage goes bad.
Hold on a minute, Noone. You distinctly smelt his breath?
Not his breath. Him. So rotten it still stings my nose now.
How certain are you?
You told me to tell the truth, no? I am. Do you still want to hear the rest of my nightmare? Otto?
Oh, apologies. My mind was divided, and that's not fair to you.
Anyways. Looking through that crack, I realized something. I was inside the walls, like a rat. On the other side was an entire world. And everything got worse from there. Lower and lower I climbed until I'd gone down so deep that there was nothing but steam and darkness. And louder ticking, back and forth, back and forth. Wanting to give up, I sat listening. I'd nearly fallen asleep when suddenly a small shape crawled out from inside the wall below. Another worker came for me, I thought. But when they looked up, I saw their eyes. A child, for certain this time. And their hair was covered in goo, which made it hard to tell if they were a boy or a girl. Still, I climbed down, full of energy. Nearly the amount I used to have. We stood in silence, a moment. Stuck in their hair was black liquid moving like smoke. "What's in your..." I started, but they put a hand over my mouth. Not until they pointed at the wall did I understand why. Yet another crack led to yet another chamber. It was a hideous workshop. All around were half-made projects built from wood and metal with all kinds of straps and cranks. Their shapes made my chest tighten. A collection masks was on the shelves with screws and spikes on them, positioned to fit perfectly into a mouth. A tall woman bent over a new project, wearing a familiar dress. Long, heavy chains coming out under its tail. She moaned, enjoying herself. I could feel she'd been at it for hours. Her presence alone told that she was the keeper of the stone giant, of the world beyond the walls. Turning to a pile of scraps, I saw her face. Equally old and young, and her skin stretched back so tight that only her eyes seemed human. I wanted so badly to know what she was building and to scream all the same. But before I could do either, my new friend pulled me away. They pointed up. From between the planks, a shadow studied us. The child pulled my arm, but it was already too late. The worker looked down beside me, inspecting my body like a tool, reaching out with its wrench. But the child pushed me away, letting a slither of light shine out from the workshop to hit the shadow. Faster than fast, tucked back into darkness, desperate to keep hidden.
Noone, why have you stopped?
I'm thinking. The next bit is hard to describe. The nightmare, it shifted. Steam reached around us, and we came to a place at the bottom of the gears, between the walls. In front of us, a long pendulum whooshed back and forth. My friend grabbed hold as it swung by. I let it go past 1, 2, 3 times before finding the courage to do the same. We climbed as the pendulum rocked left and right, making my head dizzy. Just a little more, I repeated to myself, until my friend reached out a hand to pull me up. We'd made it. Finally, the center of the clock. The room was round with a spiral staircase, and the machine made of little metallic fingers, tapping a violent rhythm. The ceiling was a white clock face, but all the numbers were wrong. We immediately ran up the stairs, and at the top, we stepped out into a courtyard. My body began shaking as I heard them. Shouts and shrieks of pain. All I could do was stare up at the circular walls, which I had just been inside. This was the true building. There were a million rooms like the second one I peered into, all the way up with hands and limbs reaching out from between the bars that kept them locked in. My heart pounded like one of them, a prisoner trying to get free. I shouted, "Wait, please!" But my friend was across the courtyard. Then, a jingling. The tall woman jumped down from above, and with thumping steps, she went after my friend. A chain leapt out beneath her dress, like a snake. It caught their leg, and the woman dragged the child through the snow, kicking and yelling. My friend, scared to tears, yelled for help, and the woman spotted me. She began plodding my way, and fear froze my feet, getting closer and closer, and all I could think was, who brought me here, and why was I made to know these secrets? With skin so tight, her mouth opened only a sliver, with blackened teeth inside, hungry for something. Something that swelled inside me. Then I woke up.
That's awful, Noone. I'm sorry. The woman in particular sounds disturbing.
Yes, but she didn't scare me most. Not after I woke up. It was the workers.
Because they were mindless?
No, because they were hidden. Nobody knew they existed. That's how I feel sometimes. Since getting the water sickness, as if things are in my body, but instead of making me tick, they're killing me, like the bugs in the flower pot. Oh, I can feel them in my head.
Noone, listen to me. I'll do everything within the limits of my command to help you. But there's nothing bad inside you. Nothing.
All right.
I have one more question, and then I think it's enough for your first day, okay?
Okay.
Noone, have you ever heard of mutual dreaming?
Mutual dreaming?
Sharing the experience with another person.
How could what's in my head be in someone else's head? And who would I share it with?
Questions that have hounded my outer colleagues for years. Your perception of temperature and smell while dreaming is sometimes thought to be an indicator of this transpersonal phenomenon. While I'm not convinced of its ontological validity, I've longed to study a case like yours. Unfortunately, I've only known one other person to exhibit this faculty. Years ago...
Who? Were they like me?
My beloved Cece. And not quite. In any case, my ambitions fell off. I lost sight of many things. But you've stimulated a part of me nearly forgotten.
Oh. I think I see it now. Otto.
Yes, that's right. We're in this together.
No, the painting.
Oh.
It's a map. Of stars and two circles around it.
Yes, good. An astrolabe, in fact.
Astrolabe?
An ancient instrument used to locate positions in time and space. Now, surely you're exhausted.
I don't want to go to my room. To sleep. Will you walk me back?
Of course. And we can't forget your nightly confectionery. Here, Noone. Take your pick. Sweets for my sweet. During our fourth session, developments in Noone's case unearthed echoes of past failures. The girl recalled a familiar figure.
The candleman stood before me, on the rooftop. He wore a long, filthy jacket. His presence. It reminded me of when the tide goes out.
An uncanny sense of déjà vu. For Noone has seemingly encountered my Cece's ferryman. I thought him lost forever. Yet, if true, he's somehow found a way back to where he began. And who is he? Some deranged bedlamite? A mutual dreaming savant? Invading the nightmares of innocence? It seems absurd. All I know for certain is that I must dig deeper. This is the counsellor. Tape number 57, session number 4, patient Noone. I was presumptuous, judgmental. Now I feel it's paramount to prioritize Noone's treatment over several other cases due to demonstration of abnormal and neurological faculties. To disinter further, today I'll venture an unconventional method. Admittedly dated, but this device should help attain further clarity. Please, come in. How are we doing today, Noone?
Otto, what happens to a stone that has overcome its greatest fear?
You're telling a joke?
Yes, but I never got the punchline.
I'll have to think about that.
There, look! A moth!
Mm-hmm.
We went on vacation once, under my doctor's advice. Swarms of moths gathered round that balcony each night. They fascinated me, their little ways, how they just existed. I collected them in Mum's plastic jars.
Well, this might be a good time to tell me about your mother.
I'd rather not. Mum didn't share my enthusiasms for crawlies. But moths were my favourite, drawn to lie under some kind of spell.
Perhaps you see a bit of yourself in the moth, vulnerable, caught in the spotlight. The fame you received after the cure...
I don't feel cured. At all.
You feel you're still in the dark?
Yes, but I like to try to fly towards the light.
Then let me be that guiding light, and eventually together we'll leave your darkness behind.
How you said that reminds me of the place I visited.
On your vacation?
No, last night. In my dream.
Let's make sure you're comfortable before jumping in.
Oh, I feel at ease. Calm even. Can I tell you about it?
If you like, then I suppose you
I
could...
awoke to wet air on a rooftop. Peeking over the ledge, I saw an ocean stretching all the way to the horizon. On the nearest shore, giant fish-like contraptions crawled out from the waves, and from their mouths, plump men and women emerged. Faces hidden behind wooden masks, bodies tucked away beneath mucky brown robes. Some used sticks to labour up the long, winding boardwalk leading from the beach to the lantern-lit market below. Their destination was behind me. A distant, crooked bathhouse. A voice whispered, "Hey!" And I turned to see a grubby, breathless boy stepping off a ladder. He dressed in tatty shorts and shirt covered in pin badges. He said, Do you know a way out of here? I told him I was equally lost, but he insisted on travelling together. He went on, "Other kids call me Jester because I never run out of jokes. I can tell you some along the way." I didn't reply, so he blurted, "A man tells his friend to stop looking for the perfect match." But he stopped. I could tell he realized that parts of him were missing. As if just being here was changing him. I realized something too. My headache was gone. Jester yelled out, "Oh, he tells him to use a lighter."
Then this boy was the impetus for your joke. You met a child in your nightmare prior, but this one sounds far more normal.
He looked like the kids from school, only kinder. The ones at school teased me. Well, until I fell ill. After the water sickness, the same children who made me dread walking through those rotten gates began sucking up. But I've always been the same me. Funny. I feel less me now than before.
Children can be cruel. I had my share of tormentors in adolescence.
Really?
It's regrettably common. Tell me what happened next.
Jester pulled my arm. "Look," he said, pointing me to long planks of wood laid out like bridges between the rooftops. Other children had traveled this path before.
Other children?
The walkways had been placed there. They were too narrow for those swollen adults below. It must have been other children. And Jester, he was real too. I felt his presence, just as I feel yours here in this room. Could that be the dream sharing you spoke of?
Let's not leap to assumptions. Go on. The planks?
We carefully walked each one, building to building. Below, the masked figures continued their walk too. Every now and then, a traveller would leave their place in line to take goods from the many merchants who'd offered all manner of soaps and perfumes. Their flowery smells mixed with the fishy stench pouring from the chimneys of the bathhouse. When we reached our final building, our only option was to head down the long ladder, snaking around the side into an alleyway below. Jester was a nervous sort, so I did my best to stir his courage and asked, "Have you another joke?" And he replied, "Oh, right. What happens to a stone that has overcome its greatest fear?" And there it was again. That lost look, like Granny used to get. I asked him, "You don't remember?" "You don't remember?" And Jester simply said, "I'll know it by the time I reach the bottom." But before I could follow, something called out from across the rooftop. A muddled voice. And then I saw him. That man with the impossible face. The same one from the room of glass jars, but I can never focus on him.
Noone, I need you to recall fine details.
I told you.
Especially when speaking about persons you've seen multiple times. Recurrence implies significance.
He's a broken mirror, or a photograph all torn up. Impossible to piece back together.
I have something. A magic glue for your mind.
I don't want to wear that.
You must. If you cannot remember specifics, then I cannot help you. I must know about this mystery figure. I simply must.
All right then. A pendant?
This belonged to someone very important. Gazing into its spiral always gave me relief. I found it can be used to offer my patients that same relief through hypnotherapy, which will help you remember this,
The Candleman. It's my name for him.
I'd like you to gaze into the spiral. Watch it sway. Back and forth, back and forth. Fall into the endless turning of the pattern within. And as you drift away, Drift back into dreaming. Drift into a world coming clearer.
Yes, I see.
Then tell me of the Candleman.
The Candleman stood before me on the rooftop. He wore a long, filthy jacket. His presence, it reminded me of when the tide goes out. And his face, it moved beneath his hat like soup, bits and pieces rising and sinking. Wait, I can see a little better now. His eyes are long slits, skin rough, sagging, like melting wax. He didn't speak, but somehow I knew. The Candleman wanted me to open myself to this place. Yes, he has for a while now. Every night.
Every night.
Oh, I can see it all. A web. He's been with me this whole time. Watching, observing, waiting.
What does he want?
I don't know. Someone shouting. I turned to look.
I'd like to keep talking about...
No, when I turned back, the Candleman was gone. I rushed to the ladder. At the bottom stood a poor-covered brute with filthy arms. He must have broken away from the boardwalk, and something hung in his hand, flapping like a fish. He headed to the bathhouse and something told me to follow. As I climbed down the ladder, I passed by an open shop window and poked my head inside. The merchant spoke in a raspy voice. What's your pleasure? A desperate moan came from the customer, and he said, suds, to cleanse this profane skin. And then the merchant lifted a bottle of pink liquid and said, this will ease your pain. At the bottom of the ladder, Jester wasn't there, so I set off, making my way through the overgrowth that had eaten up the land around the bathhouse, until I reached some vines crawling up a fogged window. I was in some kind of store closet. The shelves were lined with cleaning chemicals and brushes and buckets. The stink of bleach stung my eyes, so I rushed through the door. A room with shallow pools, and the same polluted taste in the air as the stream by our apartment.
The water parasite preoccupation.
Something lives on, even after the cure, pinching my skin, pulling my organs. My head's like cracked pavement, and my scalp is itchy, so itchy. Ugh.
Enough scratching. Noone, listen. There's nothing on you. Nothing inside either. It's only you and me and nothing else. It's all right. You're back. Safe and sound, as promised.
Did it work? Were details glued back together?
Some, though many pieces are still missing. And this continual mention of headaches concerns me. I'll look into possible causes and see what can be done. For now, the bathhouse, you were inside, right?
Yes, and there was steam hung in the air, making it hard to see anything but shapes. The shapes of bathers, unrobed and unmasked. Some lathered away, some crouched in the water, others huffed the sauna steam. The biggest sat scrubbing himself with something that appeared alive. Creeping through the steam, I hid behind a bucket. The big one was before me, barely resembling a human. His body was raw and brown. He rapidly repeated, "Divide the ground from the divine," over and over. I suddenly realized who the creature was scrubbing with. It was poor Jester, sobbing and thrashing for his life. Stumbling in horror, I slipped on the slimy tile and the room went silent as they turned their heads and began a haunting chant. Cleanse her, cleanse her. Voices piled as their shapes stood and staggered into view. Their bodies scrubbed into raw spectacles. There was nothing I could do for Jester. So I picked myself up and ran for the door, but it was shut tight. The bathers drew near, arms reaching out. My hands grazed a crevice on the wall, which I slipped through just in time. There I stood in the storeroom, once more. The window was open, my one chance to escape. I climbed the shelves, avoiding the jars and containers that filled the room with chemical stink. Glancing back, I saw the monster standing in the broken doorframe, Jester's limp body under his arm. His wart-covered hand reached up, grabbing my leg, violently pulling me away, and all I could do was reach and hope. My hands grasped a jar full of white liquid, and as he ripped me down, the jar followed. The liquid covered him, head to toe, unleashing a cloud of gas that burned the very air, washing over me, sending me into darkness. A strange satisfaction came from melting down that vile man. I wasn't like that moth, searching for the light. I was quite happy, surrounded by the dark. Soon enough, I was back here, in the copy. A more intense, personally rooted conflict this time. A desire to be clean, perhaps to wash away memories of invasive experience that your anxiety is fixated on. Yet, what bemuses me is your insistence on actuality, claiming material presence of others and environment. But didn't you say I could be sharing dreams?
Yes, but that's a different phenomenon. We must prescribe further research. I will need to begin nightly tests and observations to aid in reaching differential diagnosis.
Experiments? Do we have to, Otto?
They'll help you feel better, and that's what you want, isn't it?
Well, yes. Of all things, it's the sound of Mum saying, "Night" I miss most.
The stone becomes a little bolder.
Pardon?
The answer to Jester's joke. It's an old one.
Stone becomes a little bolder.
Now, before you pop off to bed, pick out another colourful delight for being such a good girl. Sweets for my sweet. Noone vanished last night. As she slept, I was monitoring her ultradian sleep cycle. There was no REM-NREM oscillation. Instead, involuntary spasms grew progressively worse. As I was about to wake Noone, her body evanesced for a split instant, then returned, calm as can be. Lacking sleep, I can't be sure I wasn't hallucinating. Yet the image of her sheets deflating is imprinted upon my mind. After yesterday's session, no less, when she claimed to hear this.
The faraway drifts near. Tread long, then sink deep. Two flows from one, and here is whole again.
A coincidence? Or synchronicity? Is that bloody moth again? Riddle piles upon riddle, and answers continue to elude. I'll sift through every word if I must.
Chapter 3. The Theater of the Mind.
It's clear. Noone's symptoms go beyond parasomnias. Her retellings are too detailed. Vocabulary too advanced, as if derived from the oniric itself. However, what I find impossible to believe is that Noone's seen who you saw, Cece. If two people, without any contact, shared the exact same observation, is it proof of transpersonal dreaming? But such implies concurrence, and these dreams are years apart. Then, no, I cannot be taken to metaphysical backwaters, sounding like my old professor. I've remained balanced over the years by clinging to the notion that my recollection of what happened years ago was wrong. But now, those memories are coming home to roost. Before I began at the CPI, I promised to finish this apparatus. I let it fall away, convinced that attempting it was fool's work. Now struggling to put myself in her shoes, well, fool me twice. Oh! Noone, you're meant to wait outside.
What are you working on?
We've come to know each other better over the past weeks, haven't we?
Because we're friends. That's why. And friends tell each other things.
Friends, that's right. One of the absolutes I've come to realize is that the more time you spend with someone, the harder it becomes to hide who you really are. The only exception to this rule is with the company of oneself. We willfully hide what we'd rather not face. Like the candle man you mentioned seeing under hypnosis.
I don't like that.
What?
Hiding things from myself.
Nobody likes it. That's why it's important to reveal your inner face. Depth analysis, we call it. And so I'd like you to think of this session as a dialogue with your unconscious mind. You are asking the questions, not me.
Asking myself questions.
I'll help, but as you go, I'd like you to try. So, this candleman, did you see him again?
I did.
And what was this meeting like?
He was much clearer. Not just him. Everything about it. My nightmare.
Elaborate, please. Was it worse? More vivid?
What's it like? As if I'm watching a film that I'm also the star of. And when I woke, it was here, in the copy. That felt more like the dream.
More palpable. The candleman...
I can't talk about him without the rest. If this is an interview with myself, may I begin where I want?
Of course. Let your imagination run. But don't be afraid to interact with the dream. This is an important step in our process, the dialogue. Bring together the divided parts of yourself.
The mirror.
Pardon?
The one off your shelf. If I meant to speak to myself, well...
Patients aren't meant to have mirrors, but here you are, my bright girl. Begin as you please.
In the dark. A hand let go of mine. Opening my eyes, I lay on hot concrete, staring up at a sky with no sun. And before me was endless grey, broken by yellow lines of paint all the way to the horizon. Standing in that car park, I heard a silence, so silent my own heartbeat was a marching drum in comparison. It was followed by a loneliness so lonely I could hardly bear it. I had to turn away. Behind me, I was glad to see a building, a shopping mall, so large I felt half my normal size. Its doors opened, and I ran to them. Inside the promenade, the lights flicked on, one by one, greeting me as the PA speakers came alive with music. It had been ages since I'd visited a shopping centre. I didn't know where to start.
You saw no need to find an exit right away?
I felt like I was in good hands. But many shops were closed, though. There were no doors and no displays in the windows. Or there must have been a private entrance because I could see shadows beyond the glass. After passing by several shops this way, I grew disappointed. But that's when a cowboy's voice came over the speaker. Sale at Jujubee's Toys. Dolls, games, puzzles and more. Ground floor by the fountain. I could see that fountain in front of me, and on the other side was a bright green storefront with bubbles floating out the entrance. Shells and Shelves of wonders lined the shop. The toys on the first shelf were very old, but deeper shelves held the same toys I had back home, and deeper ones held exactly those I'd wished for, even little Lottie Potty. But these Lotties had black eyes, not blue, and their skin was yellow like autumn leaves. The shop owner wasn't present, so I grabbed one and began playing on the carpet. But it didn't take long for me to grow bored. That was the first time I felt too old for dolls.
Maturity is natural as you approach adolescence. The brain loses interest in things once held dear.
The idea of growing up made me sad. And as if reacting, Lottie's dress became wet. The doll was doing as its name said, but the liquid was dark and thick. I put her down to find something else, but the choices were almost too many. Towering shelves extending deep in the gloom of the impossibly long shop. I settled on the games section, but most were meant for two. Suddenly, a staticky whisper said, "I'll play with you." I thought it was the shopkeeper, but nobody was around. My eyes fell upon a jewelry making kit with a red necklace on the cover. I took the box back to where I left Lottie, only she was gone. The shelf above, where the other dolls had been, was completely empty too. I wanted to make the jewellery, I really did, but I felt weird, so I put it down. Then the PA crackled, a woman's voice this time. "Jujubee's Toys is now closing." The lights shut off, bubbles stopped, and the last thing I saw before exiting was the train set crashing to a stop. The promenade was empty still. Each step echoed across the walls and floors, which were pearl white and had patterns like veins. I came to 3 sets of stairs, side by side, leading to the next floor. I chose one, and reaching to the top, I saw another open shop. Mademoiselle's Bijouterie.
Bijouterie. But regardless, you could read this.
Yes, the letters were quite big.
Have you been able to read in your dreams before?
I'm not sure. That's not a question I would ask myself, though, Otto.
Apologies.
The glass case in the centre of the room pulled me in, full of gold and silver necklaces. Hanging in the middle was an enchanting red pendant. And before you ask, yes, it was just like on the box at the toy store. The PA came on again. A free gift to all little girls 10 and under. Without asking, I put the necklace on, glowing like a ruby teardrop. With my gift, I set to leave, but someone must have left the speaker on because I heard arguing. "Don't overdo it," said a first voice, followed by a second. "One more prize can't hurt." From the back room, a rack of dresses rolled out, all exactly my size. It'd been ages since I'd been allowed to pick out my own dress. The telly people chose them for me. These ones were very pretty, with lace and bows and stitching, but one... It was the plaid dress I wore the day I arrived at the copy. How could my dress be here?
Your real life doesn't often mix into your dreams, Noone. Why now?
Pardon?
I'm asking myself questions. Well, the only explanation is that they could see inside my head.
I'm not sure that's logical.
Let me finish, please. You'll see. Back out on the promenade, the shop gates began to slam shut. I was worried the mall was closing, but on the floor above, a set of spinning bright lights came on. The music stopped and the PA crackled with a sing-songy voice. Showtime's patrons! Our daily motion picture will begin shortly. Hot popcorn's popping and the seats away in the playhouse. The rest of them all went dark, making the lights more enticing to follow. The lobby was red from floor to ceiling. Buckets of popcorn overflowed on the concession stand. I grabbed one and hurried to push open the huge golden doors leading into the theatre. Red velvet seats went for rows and rows, full of people. A spotlight hit the stage, illuminating an organ. But there was no organ player, only tall curtains swaying in some breeze. I tiptoed down the aisle and sat centered with the screen. The chair seemed to hug me, and the room felt dark as the first buttery bit hit my tongue. Without adverts or introduction, the film began. Images of trees on fire and white hooves galloping. I recognized the picture instantly because I'd seen it 100 times. The healing horn. Only the scenes were out of order. And the unicorn. Her horn was misshapen, like a rotten tree branch. The evil prince's face too was wrong. Feeling out of place, I looked around. The audience, I realized was not people, but mannequins. All of a sudden, a familiar scent entered the dream. Ocean. I was no longer alone. The dusty projector light made it difficult to suss, but a few seats over was the Candleman. His eyes and mouth were deep black pits inside a mess like a wet gunny sack, sagging down the floor. Without turning, he spoke.
What? What did he say?
It was like a voice underwater. The words could hardly escape the folds of skin. He repeated them to me. The faraway drifts near. Tread long, then sink deep. Two flows from one, and here is whole again.
And then? What else?
Here, here, here. He just repeated over and over.
There must be more. Try. Interact with the dream.
There was no more.
Ask who he is. Ask what he wants.
It doesn't work that way.
You were right there. Don't tell me you did nothing. Not a damn thing.
Stop!
I'm beginning to doubt you've seen this Candleman. Perhaps you've invented the whole story.
Please stop my head!
What are you doing? with the mirror. You're up to something, but we'll let it slide. I know girls like you. You're upset with me, aren't you? Here, a pill for your headache. Earlier, that was awfully... That was not how friends act. Sleep has evaded me too. I've grown worried, trying to... Please forgive me. I'd very much like to hear the rest. I won't interrupt. You have my word.
Fine.
So, you were in this theatre with him?
All kinds of pictures flashed on the screen. And then he was gone, leaving me alone again. Or so I thought. The projector flickered in the booth. I dashed up and found the door ajar. A new voice came over the PA, angry. No patrons in the projection room. The door was stuck, but I pushed and pushed. The PA boomed, "You must not enter!" The projector I saw first was shaped like a deformed eye. Then, my attention fell to the mass on the floor. A brain? A heart? No. Its muscles pumped and pumped, and its tubes ran into the walls. The voice came both from inside the room and over the PA.
Happy day, no one.
Happy day, no one. It knew my real nickname. The ones kids at school scribbled all over my books. How? Because it was in my head. I asked, You're the one who's been talking. All those voices. Then, I saw countless film cans around the room and understood. It was so alone, it took to imitating. Then it said, "Are you going to leave, like all the others?" I managed a yes. The thing began pulsing and, upset, it sort of cried out. So many, they take what they want and go, or get snatched away or worse. It paused, then went on. Whatever you desire, it's yours. But I didn't want anything from it. The PL belted, "The pendant! You wanted that!" The pulsing worsened until another voice came within the first. "You've driven another away." I felt bad for it. Or them. This place had been warped by pain and wanted so badly to keep me. Even the walls began throbbing. What could I do? I ran down the stairs out of the theatre. On the promenade, the lights were flashing so as to be dizzying. The PA screeched, "Everyone needs someone. Don't leave me alone." The walls began to cry that dark, thick liquid. Pooling around me, I looked up. From the floor above, the candleman stared, pointing at my chest, at the pendant. I flung it down into the liquid, then he reached a hand toward me and all faded as the PA sobbed, "Don't take her. Not this one, too."
There was, excuse me, a curious phrase, warped by pain. Is that how you feel sometimes? Noone, are you still angry with me? Or distracted by the mirror?
Behind my ear, there's a saw.
Is that why you wanted the mirror all along?
It's like the ones I used to get. I need to see it.
Nothing's there. It's red because you've been picking at it.
I have one more question for myself. Why do I have these dreams? Water sickness, that's my answer.
Noone, it's wiped out of your system. There have been no known reinfections. It's in your mind.
But what if the cure is the cause? I never had nightmares or headaches before all of this. Before going on telly. Before this...
No. Come here, my girl. You are not sick. You're perfectly fine. You're a perfectly wonderful little girl. This time I will protect you.
I'm sorry. You were squeezing so tight and it slipped.
You ask why you dream. The truth? Nobody knows. My studies always assumed they were more than the brain's way of filtering subconscious thoughts. But I had no answer either. An old professor of mine thought he did. He believed dreams came from an ever-shifting plane, a quiddity of consciousness.
Quiddity.
Quiddity, the essence of a thing. In this case, a semi-tangible plane outside the mind.
Is it the same as mutual dreams? I don't understand.
My colleagues didn't either. I flip-flopped over the years, but I figured it was impossible to prove.
Will I ever get rid of them then? Will I ever leave the copy?
You must understand, you are a unique case. I want to let you go. As soon as...
I'm better?
Yes, as soon as you're better. Now.
I know.
Sweets for my sweet.
Do I have to go back to my room?
I've got to tidy, and you reminded me there's something I need to find. On you go. I'll come by later. I found it. The paper that stained my professor's career. Kept it all these years, hoping and dreading there was truth in these words. We know now that there is no center to the universe. Previously, we thought it was the sun. Before that, we thought it was the earth. Our species always insists that ours is the quintessence of experience. Yet scientific observation proves our folly ad nauseum. If geocentrism took centuries to disprove, the question is not if, but when the same will happen to reality itself. That which we are equipped to perceive may not be the only world, let alone the predominant one. Duality, a notion essential to psychology. We all contain a multitude of personas and change proverbial masks to match our present situations. The body is the container for this legion within, allowing us to maintain the important illusion of a singular self, the very basis of human experience. In Noone, there lies both the innocent child and the disturbed traveller. Both fight for control. But what happens when the duality is not only in the mind?
2 breaths. Why could I hear him breathing? Why could I feel them breathing? My body was...
Given her vanishings, I fear it is not only her inner self which has become subject to division, but her body as well. One child, torn between two worlds. Either I have lost my marbles, or we tread ever deeper into territories beyond the boundaries of rational thought.
Chapter 4. Two of a Kind.
Otto, what is this place?
The reunion room.
Is that cake they're eating? May I have some? Can I go in there?
I'm sorry. You may only watch. My colleagues don't allow inpatients to mingle with outpatients. Those who are ready to go home to their families, I mean. Sit tight and I'll get you some cake. Get me a piece of cake, please. A piece of cake. Get me a piece of cake. There. A fine chocolatey slice.
They're not waving back.
Ah, it's a two-way mirror. We can observe them, but they can't observe us. I'd like to ask about last night.
Last night?
You were in bed with the brain activity monitor on. One moment you were there, and the next, gone. Where did you go?
I don't understand.
I watched you myself, so I know you didn't get up and leave the room.
Wasn't I asleep? I don't recall any of this.
You vanished, Noone.
Huh?
I thought I might have been mistaken at first, but the EEG readings persisted, as if you were still there. Several minutes lapsed, then you reappeared.
That makes no sense.
And this wasn't an isolated event.
What do you mean? I can't just... People don't just disappear. You're supposed to help me. You're supposed to understand.
And yet neither of us do. It's a major development, a bona fide anomaly. That's why we must be sure that...
Is this some kind of trick?
It's all right. Look at me. Focus on my eyes. Breathe. Noone, slowly. Breathe. 2, 3. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3. That's it. That's a girl. Better?
Why did you take me here, Otto?
I know solitude can be hard, and visualization is essential to developing beliefs.
It's being alone I hate. It's being lonely.
And I'm showing that one day you'll be in the reunion room too. Just as relieved as those children, sharing cake rather than eating it by yourself. But you have to trust my process, even when it's difficult for you to grasp.
I understand more than you think.
Yes, I suspect so too. Hidden somewhere in your head. Come along. We've got preparations to make before tonight's session.
Can we stay here? A minute longer?
All right, just until you finish that slice.
So many wires. They're everywhere.
It's the same EEG machine I use to monitor your sleeping brain. Only now I'd like to acquire readings during wakefulness, during your retelling, to compare results.
My last doctor made me do things like this all the time. Tubes into my stomach, I don't much like being awake for tests and proddings.
These electrodes may feel strange on your scalp, but there's no pain. Nothing to worry about. If anxiety rears its head, take deep breaths. Same as earlier, yes?
I'm not sure.
Trust, remember? Not so bad, is it?
Can we get this over with?
Of course. Begin as you like.
I spun out of a dark place, and brilliant lights sparkled around. Then far-off laughter and screams, but screams of joy. Gathering my head, I saw other kids sitting on wooden crates nearby. As I approached, they were surprised to see me, but introduced themselves one by one. They were performers, they said, each with different skills and talents. Juggling, fire breathing, trapeze something.
Trapeze?
Trapeze. That's what he said. The boy called Rusty, he walked tightrope too. There were caravans all around, wooden ones, big yellow wheels, and all these colourful fabrics. I noticed the lights again, fairy lights, shining down into the puddles from the rain that cleared before I'd arrived. Their reflection, swirling in the murky water, like a ballet. It was beautiful. As I lost focus, the others went on talking, fast and loud as teenagers do.
Teenagers? And how long have they been there? Performing in this place?
Please, Otto. Let me get through it. From the way they looked, they'd been there a long time. But they were confident, or tried to be, and kind. As the clouds parted, Rusty asked if I wanted to go on a ride. He said it was the best one because it let you see clearly. So I said yes, feeling a part of their gang. I'd never had that before. We passed by games and silly booths until we came to the giant wheel. We climbed into the seats in pairs, me and Rusty taking the last cart. It went so high up that I could see the whole carnival. It was unnaturally high, like we were in the sky itself. Rusty pointed to these tall wooden poles, like masts on a ship, as if that answered where we were. But how could a ship be in the air? Rusty saw my face full of questions and said,
"Look down, not out.
"Look down, not out. You won't feel sick that way, and we haven't much time." I remember feeling, for a moment, things were okay. On the giant wheel, for the first time in such a long time, I felt happy. But Rusty, he suddenly seemed so sad. His voice shifted, and he continued, "That massive tent there, that's the big top. He said we'd be going there soon because him and his friends had a show to put on." I already knew the answer, but I asked anyway. "You don't like performing, do you?" He looked glum for a moment before replying, "I hate it." When I asked why he does it, Rusty mumbled to himself, but I couldn't hear with the wind so loud. Finally, Rusty turned and said, "They force us, and whatever they say goes." I didn't know who they were, but a bad feeling came over me, and I understood why we were really on that wheel. Because all the way up there, he could say what was in his heart without worrying about being heard. As the wheel came around, he began explaining very fast how him and his friends had been planning. Rusty wanted me to be part of a special show where they would try something they'd never done before. He told me that my job was to be lookout, that if I saw a man in a purple suit, I needed to give him the sign while he walked the tightrope. I asked, "Is this the man who makes you put on shows?" Without really answering, Rusty kept talking. In the spotlight, some glow, while others shrivel into shadows. We glow and do as told, or... He didn't finish the thought, but I understood. The times I was on TV, I'd have done anything to avoid all those lights. So I said, "A simple sign won't do. I'll have to shout. A code only we'll understand. How about Big Top?" He agreed it was a good idea, and I realized he didn't tell me what they were planning, but when I saw him staring out at the clouds, I asked, "You mean to escape, don't you? The carnival?" And he quickly said, This entire rotten world.
Was the boy expressing knowledge of a world beyond this carnival?
I hadn't thought about it until now, but I guess so. And I felt that too.
That all the places you've been are one and the same?
Sort of. It's like how this basement is connected to the upper floors, but don't work together.
Why did you never express this before?
What's so important?
You sense that the dreams you visit hold a tangible, sustained existence? That these spaces are objective? Physically there?
I think so. I don't know how it works, but it feels that way, yes. Do you finally believe me?
Giving the mere thought validity would have my license revoked. Yet I admit there's potential that what you say is true. It offers some explanation of your spiriting away last night. I'd need to see it for myself.
See it yourself. You're supposed to help me avoid going there.
I need to reach it with you, to find that quiddity of consciousness we spoke of.
Why would you want that? How can I trust you if you don't answer my questions sometimes? It isn't fair.
I lost someone dear to me. You understand? A long time ago. Part of me believes that they may be there.
So that's the reason you're so fascinated by me, isn't it? That's why you have me do all these tests and experiments to find them.
Now you're the one being unfair.
Well, you can't even get there.
Why not?
It's nowhere.
Nowhere? What do you mean?
It's a place that is and isn't.
Did the boy, Rusty, say that? The candleman?
Neither.
I can't help you if you hide things from me.
I tell you everything. You know what's in my brain more than I do. These things on my head,
Breathe, Noone. Breathe. Breathe. Deep. Follow my rhythm. All right, okay. If the theatrics are done, we must press on.
I want to stop.
The sooner you finish, the sooner we'll be free.
We went to the big top. Rusty and the others got all dressed up in amazing costumes, black and white with sparkles, and another in a fancy red coat. Rusty led me round to the towering stage, placing me in the front, saying, "Best seats in the house." I felt so special until Rusty looked around with that worried face again. Without another word, he went backstage as the crowd started pouring in. These people were the wrong shape. Faces like bad drawings come alive. One sat down in the seat to my left, eating a candy apple. It stank horribly, and the center was mushy and raw. These plump bodies filled the seats, too big for them, crushing and spilling into one another, at the same time stuffing their faces with rancid snacks, all gristly and chewy. I thought to throw up, but as the lights dropped, everything went still. Then, a spotlight illuminated the stage, and the kid in the red coat walked to the middle. He put on amazing magic tricks that almost made me forget where I was. For his final trick, he waved around a swirling cloak, smoke spilling out, and topped off with a bang. When the cloak dropped, he had disappeared, and in his place were two different kids. They had sticks near their mouths, blowing fire. That did it for the crowd. Then I remembered I was playing lookout, but I saw no man in a purple suit, and I was distracted as the fire breathers finished and junglers came on. They took the flaming sticks from their friends and threw them so high in the air. I found myself cheering with the crowd. And then the lights went down again, marking the final act. The spotlight blared again, shining at the top of the tent. Way up, standing at one end of a rope between two ladders, was Rusty. The others stopped, staring in complete quiet. He started walking, slowly, then with more confidence. The silence went on too long, like we were all under a spell. And that's when I noticed something beside me, in the seat that had been empty a moment ago.
The man in the purple suit.
I heard him before I saw him. Two breaths. Why could I hear him breathing? Why could I feel them breathing? My body was shaking, but his attention was on Rusty. Noticing that I wasn't cheering, the man turned. He had no eyes, but I felt him look at me. How can someone with no eyes look at you? Then, I saw a smaller man in his lap. A dummy, only he wasn't made of wood or plastic and had hair atop a lumpy face where a wider mouth had been carved out. Unlike the man, the puppet had eyes, staring at the spotlight above. Suddenly, the crowd burst into a cheer as Rusty reached the middle of the rope. But the dummy's face crinkled, full of hate, wanting those cheers for himself. I was the only one not clapping, and he turned to face me. I'm not sure if they spoke or if it was in my head, but with a smile, they invited me to be part of the show. That's when I shouted, "Big top! Big top!" But the crowd was booming. Rusty made it across the rope, but instead of climbing down the ladder, he began climbing towards a small cut in the fabric at the top of the tent. I turned back, and the man was still there, limp, but his dummy was gone, right near Rusty. Big top! I tried to scream, tearing my throat, but I had no breath. And then I saw the dummy, its lumpy face peering out from the shadows at the top of the tent, waiting for Rusty. The man beside me grew shy, both loving the praise and regretting the attention. I could hear it breathing again, twin breaths, how to think. I tried and tried to shout, but it was too late. Rusty was finally out of the spotlight, and the tiny doormat lunged, and Rusty...
Did he escape? Did he manage?
Get this thing off my head!
Was Rusty able to get away?
No, I don't like it! Rusty!
Okay. All right. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Follow me. Listen. 1, 2,
Big top!
deep. Slow down. Breathe.
Rusty! Big
Just
top!
breathe.
Big top!
1, 2. Noone! Mercifully, the only irreparable damage this evening was the wound cut in Noone's confidence towards me. What concerns me more is the lack of detail in her retelling. A step backwards, which may be the result of her preoccupation with the testing equipment. Her body dysmorphia was exacerbated. That celebrity doctor's to blame, whatever he put her through. And all those poor children. But it's causing her to become furtive. I've exhumed the journals published by my outer circle of colleagues, with whom I'd lost touch. While I previously entertained the possibility of a multitude of realms, a singular space seems more probable, and in line with their transcendental musings. While their studies are conjecture, I can no longer deny the empirical signs pointing towards such peripheral existence. Why then are my senses unable to perceive it whatsoever? There's a veil up. Ha, yes, like a two-way mirror. Only I'm the one stuck on the side of blind, deaf and dumb ignorance. And the lurking presence of the ferryman. While he may be a master of dream manipulation, he's no denizen here. Noone said it many sessions ago. He does not belong in our world. And yet he is the connective tissue. I am determined to find his arcane hinterland, to cross into the place she calls nowhere. The guardian at the threshold. An archetype that parapsychologists have obsessed over for centuries. A mythic entity who's appeared in the stories of innumerable cultures. No matter their description, his role is always the same: to confront anyone who dares cross into unseen worlds. In our last session, he spoke to her, or through her. Even when I listen to the tape, I can't be certain what I'm hearing. Still, I've repeated his words like a sickness ever since. It went like this. Cross the sill, sink in a twinkling, cast aside the old sleep, to sleep again anew. The candleman, the ferryman, indeed the guardian at the threshold, an eidolon on the inside, determined to keep me out.
Chapter 5. A Deluge of the Inevitable.
Noone was right after all. I noticed something off while reviewing the EEG and reluctantly sent her up to radiology. At first, I doubted the validity of the results, but the technician assured, curtly, that Noone's scan undeniably shows a pea-sized tumour on the right-sided amygdala. They maintain it's benign, despite the unusual ocular appearance. This calls everything into question. The mass's location could impact fear response, emotional salience, and damningly, dreams. And yet, I cannot deny all the evidence to the contrary. I've pondered the ethics of informing Noone. She's already so scared of her body that it would only send her spiraling. I can't risk anything jeopardizing a revelation that might lead to Cece. From here on, anyone listening will think me mad. But the proof is in the pudding. Noone's vanishings, her transpersonal states, they're undeniable evidence of a realm beyond our senses. It's always been on the periphery, but now I know it's accessible. And she possesses the means to enter that domain. My professor's paper posits thus. There are two requisites for entering the quiddity of consciousness. First, a gateway, places hidden amid our world. Second, a means to open these doors. And I assert that keys are primarily cut out of fear. Either I lack his erudition or his mania. My only hope lies in completing my labors. I've not slept in weeks. And if I cannot dream as she does, I'll never know how to enter this nowhere. An ugly autumn night, isn't it, Noone? Swirling mist, they called it on the broadcast. A weather phenomenon unique to the counties. The downpour's not far off. But a gift may brighten the mood. Here.
Oh, it's nearly the same. Red too.
A chrysanthemum, like your parents left you all those weeks ago. An apology, a reminder that I remain as committed to you as I did then.
Pretty.
It's a perennial, so it'll blossom year after year, just like you.
I think I'm ready now to talk about my mum and dad.
Oh, and why now? What's changed?
Because I feel like I'm beginning to forget, and maybe talking will help me remember.
Because you've been away so long, or you literally feel you're losing your memory?
More like I'm losing a part of me. I can't tell, am I the girl here or the one there?
They're one and the same. Given all you've told me, they must be. It's not you that's different, but the physical space around that.
I said I want to talk about my mum and dad. When most kids have nightmares or whatever these are, they go to their parents to feel better. Here, I relive them again and again. And it's all you want to talk about because you think you can find Cece through me.
Noone. The only way to find answers is to discover where you go when you sleep. Talking about your parents would be wasting the hours.
Aren't these sessions supposed to be about me?
Always.
But I've no say, no control over how I feel or what I do. I don't even belong to myself. I'll do as you ask, but promise me. No wires hooked into my head. No machines. Not tonight.
No machines, promise. I think you'll enjoy what I've got planned. This bed was the shift work. Now I sleep here more days than not.
Oh, pretty.
I'd like to try a sort of role reversal. I'll lie here, blindfolded, depriving my senses, to enter a self-induced hypnagogia, so I can focus on your words. You'll recount your latest visit, and I want you to try as hard as you can to project your dream into my head.
I don't think it can work, but I'll try. That girl, in the photo there, that's her, your daughter.
My sister.
Oh, you don't look much alike.
I'm settled. Blindfold on. Carry me away with you, Noone.
I couldn't see anything.
Slow down. This is vital. Speak as if you're trying to pull me in.
I floated through a darkness with nothing at my feet. Then it all faded and I was somewhere new. An underground brick tunnel with a stream of thick sludge passing through a canal at its center. I can still hear it. Jangling keys. Squeaking metal. Do you hear, Otto?
I can't. But keep trying.
It came from a kid in the distance, struggling to shut a grand iron door. The last thing I heard before the slamming shut was laughter. Sludge poured in from the pipes that ran along the tunnel walls. I had no choice but to follow the stream, and so I did until I reached a section where I saw storm drains above. Looking up through one, I saw a boy's dirty boots and orange light shining from a lantern on his waist. We locked eyes and he called out, "Look, critters already!" Lights then shone down from every drain above, other boys and girls wanting to peek at me. Very suddenly, they went quiet. I didn't know why until I heard it, a rumbling through the tunnels. They whispered together, "It's here, finally here." Do you feel what I felt, Otto?
They'd been waiting for you.
Not exactly. Their joy, their bratty excitement. They'd gathered for an event and it had finally come. Like a holiday that only arrives once per year. Running from their celebration, I turned down a tunnel, going until I came to a junction. Overwhelmed by how many options surrounded me, I closed my eyes, listening. The sound came from the path to my left. I waited, watching from a distance as someone crossed by the dark tunnel mouth. He carried a strange gadget, and every now and again, its buzz turned to some beeping, detecting secrets in the waters. I hardly noticed the rest of him, but I got a look before he crossed out of view. He carried a heavy sack over his shoulder, and things squirmed inside. But he was gone as quick as he'd appeared. The sludge was rising quickly, up to my ankles, and the stink became so awful, Otto. Imagine it, waste filling your nose. Then, across from me, a small pipe became blocked, stopping the sewage. A grey mass poked through, jammed in tight, wiggling to get loose. But not until it fell into the sludge did I realize this tiny thing was alive. It picked itself up and swayed about, curious of my company. The head was shaped like those cone mushrooms that grow out in Hatefield. I inched closer to the little mushroom fairy, and it began mimicking me, as if we'd been old friends.
A friendly presence. The first non-hostile being you've met that wasn't another child.
Yes, he belonged there, in that world. Part of it rather than a stranger, like me. Is it working, Otto? Can you see its little mushroom head?
I think so. Maybe. Keep going.
Yes. Drift away, Otto. Drift away. A crooked net lowered down from a drain grate above. While I ducked to cover, the mushroom fairy didn't. I tried to point upward, but it simply copied my gesture. There was a girl, giggling with ugly delight, sticking her whole arm through the grate, hoping to capture the poor thing. So I grabbed a loose brick and threw it at her. Hitting her arm, she cried out, while I picked up the mushroom fairy and ran off. After we were well clear, I put the creature down. It immediately walked off, then looked back, suggesting I follow. That little body clicked, jittery and ungraceful. Somehow the thing seemed to know where it was taking me, stopping only once we came to a rusty door leading to a maintenance room. Entering, though, I discovered something else entirely. Endless piles spread about the room, some of pure junk, while others house gold jewelry. As long as it could be collected, there was a place for it here. Mesmerizing. Only after examining a mound of keys did I understand where this stuff came from. Everything in this room had been dropped down from the world above over the years. The only thing out of place was a child's propeller cap on a chair, tucked away, forgotten. I think that's what the mushroom fairy wanted me to see. As if on cue, I heard the man approaching. The little creature hid in a pile of mismatched mittens, and I jammed my way in too. I peered out as he stepped through the door and began dumping out his pockets. Coins, rings, trinkets. Next, he took off his plastic suit, covered in gunk. Beneath was a bony body, his spine bent horribly. What I thought had been a sack carried over his shoulder was the back of his head, like a balloon full of water, throbbing and swollen. But I could tell he was not always that way. He'd changed, somehow become one with the sewers.
I don't understand. You believe this place transformed him?
Aren't you meant to be drifting into hypergoglia or whatever? Seeing, smelling, hearing as I did?
I can't seem to let go. I want to, more than anything.
Try! That's what you always tell me. If I'm trying my hardest, you have to as well. From the corner of my eye, I noticed the little cone sneaking away. The balloon-headed man was inches away, and in that moment, I thought of Jester, of the child with gooey hair, of Rusty. I couldn't do nothing, not again. Thankfully, that rumbling from earlier returned in that moment, stronger than before. The shaking destroyed the man's piles, startling him into an odd anger. So I stumbled out from hiding and bolted for my mushroom fairy, then out the door. I ran, and though the man wasn't very fast, that didn't matter. He had his gadget, and that buzz followed wherever I went. Any sense of direction washed away with the sludge that was now up to my knees. Turning down tunnel after tunnel, I stopped, hoping I'd lost him. All at once, those lanterns shone from above. The naughty kids had spotted us. Wildly they sang, snatch a gift before they're all sent adrift. Their cheers grew and I saw why. A bag-headed shadow appeared at the tunnel's far end, cutting me off. The man and his machine knew the tunnels as if the sewers had leaked into his thoughts. I tried to backtrack, but must have taken a wrong turn and found myself at a dead end, a wall of bricks. The mushroom fairy squirmed hard, begging to be freed. So I let go, and the grey cone climbed up a pile of fallen rubble and slipped through a crack without hesitation to abandon me, despite saving its life. The crack the fairy squeezed through began spouting water from the other side. I pulled at the bricks as the man stepped closer. One brick loose, then another.
His gadget buzzed and buzzed when I ripped the final brick loose, leaving a hole large enough to creep through. He baited at the wall, grabbing at me, but I was too far gone. His small, milky eye peeked through at me until the walls rumbled more fiercely than ever. The man backed away, overcome with horror. The rumbling didn't stop after that, and neither did the kids cheering from above. Whatever they waited for, it was time. Otto, you're awake.
Yes, Noone. I'm trying so hard to see, to feel, to sense what you did, but I can't. I don't have the gift you have, and your gifts are not as commanding as I'd hoped.
I'd trade places with you in a heartbeat. I wish I could give you everything in my head. Then I'd be rid of all of this. Shall I go on?
Yes.
It felt as if someone had picked up the sewer, shaking it with rage. Water crashed against the walls. I stumbled on, the tunnel growing wider and wider. A second smaller sound appeared. Clicks and murmurs. Then, out of the darkness ahead, they appeared, scurrying so fast I couldn't react. 100 little mushroom fairies, rushing past me in a panic, escaping something close behind. It wasn't long before that something came. Speeding like a pack of horses tangled together, a tidal wave pounded through the sewer. The wave was feet away when I finally understood. For the kids above, this was a blast. They waited and waited, unable to experience the wave's power themselves. And that made them love it all the more. Snatching things that ran from its path was part of their awful celebration. The violent wave hit, sweeping me away, carrying me back through the maze of tunnels. I swam up and up, doing my best to surface, and just as I did, the waves paused. My body no longer needed to swim. And the candleman appeared, floating on some kind of broken door.
Go through your encounter diligently. He holds the answers we need. Make no mistake, he is your tormentor.
I'm not sure that's true. This time, I was able to speak in his presence.
Why do you bring me here? What do you want?
He replied, cross the sill, sink in a twinkling, cast aside the old sleep, to sleep again, anew.
I yelled back, why? Why should I?
Before I finished, he said, blight, not within, but without. Here, all banes be set free.
More riddles. He doesn't think I can solve them, but I will.
I already did. I think he means by giving myself to his world, I won't be ill any longer. That's why, when I'm there, no more headaches, no more parasites, no more tests.
That's not true. It's not.
I would almost prefer him to take me.
Don't say that.
Away from here, from you.
It's what he wants.
Maybe.
He wants you.
Maybe your Cece felt that way too. Relieved.
I was only a boy. We're done tonight. Get out. To your room. Go.
What's this?
Nosing through my desk, were you?
My name's on it. It's my scan, yes.
Smart girl.
What does it tell?
That you've got a mass growing on your brain, a tumour.
I knew it. The cure. How bad is...
A mass in your brain is never good.
You should have told me. Why? Why didn't you tell me?
It's not my practice to tell before necessary. Now, get to bed.
Fine. But after the candleman spoke, the wave carried me by the maintenance room again. The bag-headed man looked through a window, terrified. He was opposite to those kids above. Living down there, he'd no reason to celebrate the wave. Instead, he cherished what they dropped down by accident. You see, each wanted what the other had, but could never have themselves. I'm taking 2 sweets tonight.
Take as many as you want and leave. Perhaps I was cruel to tell her. But as she sleeps, I've been pondering the entry requisites specified by my professor. I believe he was only partly right. One need only look at the theatre of agony that the ferrymans created to understand fear is an essential requirement. And I know better than anyone, a little fear can compel us towards discovery. As for the gateway's location, perhaps it's not a place hidden in our world, but in our minds. Is it not possible that her tumour is somehow this unknown gateway? An organ of transcendence. The apparatus may be unfinished, but its oneiography monitor is functional. If she's to cross over in a twinkling, what choice do I have? In her words, you must try. She hardly stirred at all while I pathed the BCI. All seems stable. As soon as her dreaming begins, the monitor should translate neural signals into visualizations.
Otto.
Shh. Return to that sleep of yours. It's past midnight. She fought as long as she could, but finally succumbed. This is it. Show me, Noone. Show me the other side. Here we are. The image. Kaleidoscope of black. An unnatural abyss. Wait. A shape. It's difficult to see. Like looking through a negative mist. There. A silhouette. Ovular. Splitting across the center. It glares like the sun. Oh no! A pupil made of light. Oh God! It's watching me. It's watching me. Noone! wake up again.
Chapter 6. The Lonely Way.
I repaired what I could of the apparatus, and though the monitor remains broken, I dare say it's as close to completion as it will get. I installed feedback resistors to maintain signal fidelity between host and guest. Though who knows if it can hold off that leering horror from the other side. However, the most critical component is the least reliable. The oniric medium to carry the frequency. Noone. Two nights prior, I feared she was lost permanently. Another transposition which lasted longer than any previous episode. Only as the sun rose did her body return, manifesting in the south wing courtyard. Ever since, Noone's been confined to her room under continuous observation. He must have let her go. Why? Huh. To toy with me, so that I might feel powerless. Zahi's gaze. The moonlight hits the painting, recalling our first session. Yes. The image is clearer than ever. She will be my astrolabe, my guiding instrument to locate distant shores across an ethereal ocean. If I cannot get to the ferryman, she will bring him to me. Take your leave, with my thanks.
Now what? Oh, it's you.
How are we this evening? That's a first? You've got nothing to say?
Don't feel like talking.
To anyone or to me?
Do you see anyone else?
That's your prerogative. Nonetheless, I came to listen.
No, you never really listen. No flour or cake this time? To buy me over?
I shouldn't have told you.
You don't believe that. I know your lies well enough by now. Mum once said that keeping the truth from others can't change it.
Even if it spares unnecessary pain? The growth is likely benign, harmless.
No, not knowing hurt me more. I didn't know a tumour was growing in my brain, but I felt it this whole time. You're fibbing again. It's not benign at all, is it?
I don't know. What I do know is that the body often knows something's wrong before the mind. The key is learning how to tune into its station, to listen.
That's your specialty, counsellor.
And now is the time to open our eyes and ears to your body. The time to let me in.
I'm rather done with machines.
with tests and with you.
It will work, this apparatus. Finishing it has stretched the bounds of my knowledge, which I vowed from day one. It holds the capacity to connect our brains so that I may see through you into the nowhere. I can help you like I've always promised, but only if I can speak to the ferryman.
Who?
The Candleman.
No, you said ferryman. Why did you call him ferryman? That's what she called him, isn't it? Cece. She saw him too.
That's why he's the only one who can help me understand.
Understand what?
Everything!
I've been poked at, studied, talked at, and hooked up to medical machines, and for what? For... my head! A fire burns in there, and I want to sleep. But I'm afraid at the same time, and that nurse is always interrupting!
My machine requires you to be asleep, Noone. The dormant brain generates theta waves, patterns which the device uses to align neural pathways through a computer interface. Once our brainwaves are tuned... Well, do you remember when we considered mutual dreaming? This facilitates that experience.
I don't understand anything you just said.
We can face your monsters together.
This machine... it means I get to sleep.
Deeper than ever before.
Metal spider webs.
What? Oh. These are resonator caps. One for each of us. The mesh of filaments transmit electrical pulses between our brains via the interface. Non-invasive, harmless. I'll put mine on first to show you.
I've changed my mind. I want to go.
There's no going back. Some sweets to put yourself at ease. Take them.
3. I don't want any. My stomach feels so ill.
Take them.
All right.
As you drift off, let's start as we always have. Where did you travel the other night? Last time you slept?
As soon as I closed my eyes, I drifted through an endless dark. After what felt like hours, I found myself in a musty, cluttered room. Mountains of patterned fabrics piled against the walls. A long wooden table was covered in scraps and tools, and a machine whirred behind the closed door across from me. A familiar, faint smell. Candy apples and enchanting sad music. Against one wall was a rack packed with clothes. Too big for me, but just right for the armless, faceless mannequins around the room. They even wore outfits already. A white wedding dress splashed with dark stains. A purple suit and red bow tie. On a third mannequin, a black velvet cloak. At the foot of a table, I discovered a wooden chest and lifted the lid to see it stuffed with smaller outfits. A doctor's coat, a pink tutu and shoes, and a yellow raincoat.
Yellow? Was anyone else around?
Only the puppet.
What puppet?
Hup! On the table among spools of thread and needles and bits of ribbon, rusty shears stuck through his torso, pinning him down. I could almost feel the blades myself. He had a wide face, painted with a wide downturned mouth, sagging cheeks, glimmering black eyes. Twine with frayed edges dangled from his arm. The only one he had. His clothes were rough worn, dressed like one of those carnival people at Rusty's show. I leaned in to get a closer look, and he jolted to life, grabbing my leg. He yanked until I fell and struggled to break free, kicking at him, but he held tight to my ankle. Reaching for a nearby bottle, smashed it into his head. He let go, and when he stopped moving, so did the music. I jumped off the table into the wooden chest from before. With the lid shut, I spied through the keyhole a new kind of mannequin in a beautiful dress stood in the doorframe, her back to me.
Sleep your distinctive sleep.
Her little movements were stiff, mechanical. Her body was still while her neck began to twist. Her hair was too shimmery, her lips too wet, and her eyes too glassy, all too elegant to be real or fully fake. When her neck turned all the way, she saw the puppet on the table, the broken bottle. She started jittering. I burrowed into the costumes, trying to make myself invisible. She opened the chest, removed a tan trench coat, sewing closed a tear along one seam. Like the nowhere had been sewing the pieces of me back together, strong again, pain-free.
She's nearly out.
I tucked away. She took out a gunny sack. One slit. I would be next. No escape. I held the lid closed tight. But I can't keep it shut forever.
She's reached the hypnagogic threshold. I'm connecting our neural relays before she crosses. Harmonizing the frequencies, then I can put myself to sleep.
Someone's opening the chest. Right now.
What? She can't be there yet. It's too soon. I can't see
There's
him.
nothing to see. The perfect lady's gone. Only the dark. All around. I can't even see my hand in front of me. Asleep and awake. Both at once.
It appears so. Normally this occurs only under certain conditions. Yet somehow that's happened now. It's better than I'd hoped for. Don't do anything yet.
I was wrong. It's not darkness. It's a kind of mist. A mist so black and thin it only half exists. Oh. That's where I am. The halfway place.
You've been at the threshold. Wait for me, Noone. Wait.
I've been here before. With the candleman.
Close your eyes. Don't move.
I can't. I'm sinking and floating. There's no floor. Only the mist spreading its fingers so I can see myself. As if rebuilding me piece by piece. And above me, or below, the brightest stars you've ever seen, twinkling as a million islands would. I feel I've been going for ages, yet I'm not tired at all. A shape in the distance. An outline of a door. Do you see it?
No, listen. You must wait for me. I'll be there soon. Do not go towards that door without me. I'm so close.
Whichever way I turn, the door is straight ahead. I'm getting nearer. It's ancient. The color of twilight, made of knotted wood. Oh. No, it's a liquid. Or both at the same time. And the frame. It squirms all about. And there's no doorknob. Only a shape at the center. The shape of an eye.
What was that? Someone at the door?
Come in. But I'm outside now.
Why me?
Did you take my sissy?
Only youth blooms, petals pure, but uprooted, spoils wait within.
In the door? Where are we going?
No, stop. Is she in there? Where is my sister?
A world as wide as the deep, and narrow as the well.
I'm stepping through.
Sink into these tideless waters.
He's taken my hand, welcoming me to the other side of the door. The stairs here go every direction at once. Otto, if only you could see it. More stars. Constellations and rings around a pulsing red moon. No. Not a moon. Not stars either. They're all eyes too. Every size and shape you could imagine. Watchful. Shimmering. Blinking. Their light dripping down into the dark mist. I feel them looking at me. Into me. And they like what they see.
Don't let the door close. Leave the girl. Please leave her with me.
The counselor. He wants to come.
Too long in the tooth. I feed the spectrum's other end.
I don't understand. Oh. He's been talking to you this whole time.
I earned this. All my life I've waited. Let me cross forever. You hear me? Invite me to your...
Otto says...
A toe dipped, but to plunge you must be pushed.
The door's changing now. Thumping. No. It's the image in the frame that's changing. A blur of faces. Children. And... I'm sorry, counselor. The door's drifting away from us.
How do I enter? I need to know. Tell me how to cross. Tell me.
A quarter will be granted. The toll set in torments, not yet paid.
I have nothing to give. What else do you want?
Sleep now, Ruth. Sleep into nowhere.
Take my hand again.
I'm wanted.
Not you. The Candleman. I'll be lost without him.
Where are you? Please. I need to see my sissy again.
The smoky fingers are mixing with the blinking eyes. And the moon is opening up, swirling all around. I feel like me again.
Give her back! Give her back! Do not go without me! Give her back, damn you!
But it's still there. Why is it still here? That darkness. That's the secret. It hides in this place. My body knew all along.
Where are you? No! Please! Not again. She abandoned me. She wanted to get away from me. Oh, Sissy, did you abandon me too? No, of course not. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have. How could you leave your little brother behind? Oh, no, you wouldn't have. I swear I could hear what she was hearing. Couldn't I? The ferryman. He said, a quarter will be granted? For whom? And a toll was to be paid? To enter the nowhere? Is that right? It could have been meaningless drivel. Another trick. If only I could sink lower and lower, all the way down, until I wake up again. What a terrifying burden this is, knowing the laws of space and time are blithe to themselves. Her dream still lingers within me, descended upon my being and into the county's. I've done nothing but weigh his words over and over. If the ferryman spoke some arcane truth, there's another way to cross the threshold. And when I do, the path will have been paved with bricks of fear. I will review every tape, uncover every secret. The answers lie therein. So nearly, so nearly was I swept away. Ethan, you shouldn't be out of your room. Oh, somnambulism. Your dreams have led you to me, then? You're sleepwalking, that's all. A common parasomnia in children. But if it's a new symptom, that could indicate something has changed. What? Oh, the mess. I was looking for something I lost. But I think I've just found it. Let's get you back to sleep now. And tomorrow, together, we'll dream and dream and dream until we sleep again anew. Hold on, before you go. Take one, my good boy. That's right. Sweets for my sweet.
You've just listened to the last episode of The Sounds of Nightmares, based on Little Nightmares from Bandai Namco Europe. This episode was written by Eugene Myers and Lonnie Nadler. The series is produced by Louis Creative, which is part of the Louis Media Group. Our writers are Mike Bambridge, aka Super Horror Bro, It's Just Jord, Eugene Myers, Lonnie Nadler, and Supermassive Games. Editorial supervision by Adizé Debar and Lonnie Nadler. Noone is played by Amy Pursehouse, and Otto by Kester Lovelace. Lonnie Nadler is our showrunner, and Thomas Rosès directed, edited, and mixed the episodes. The music is composed by Tobias Livia and Thomas Rosès. Marion Girard is head of production, and Lucille Rousseau-Garcia is our producer for Louis Media. Lucas Roussel is executive producer, and Adizé Debar is our producer for Bandai Namco Europe.